normally bring in practice network and counsel involved to be able to come up with a NOPA or a notice of proposed adjustment. The revenue agent utilizes their professional knowledge and skills of international tax, accounting, and auditing skills to be able to examine, to do that. In doing so, the senior revenue agent will coordinate with computer audit specialists to be able to tie book to tax return, and to be able to do that, is able to move forward with it, with the reconciliation. There are a number of team members on a large case, such as financial products specialists, transfer pricing specialists, and economists. At times, we will have an engineer to do evaluation of property. Once we do that, we will be able to arrive at a position. In the process, we utilize the issue management system called IMS to start to show where the issue is, or charge your time, and you maintain your issues in that order. Normally, on a large case, you cannot work everything. So what we will do is do a risk analysis and approach the tax to do a joint examination. And in doing so, we present the risk, and we will have a conversation with the taxpayer to eliminate some of the items as a risk, and be able to identify and narrow down the scope of the examination. In doing so, we will be able to do a better utilization of our time. In terms of travel, we've sent teams to travel across. There are times we travel, send teams overseas to do valuation issues and go from there. In terms of qualification, it's almost the same as LBNI, a revenue agent, have a CPA, or at least have 30 semester hours, or 24 hours in accounting or finance or business or tax law. And what you call that is basically the basic requirement. If there's any questions, let me know. Cynthia, you're next.
Okay, sorry, I had to unmute there. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the supervisory internal revenue agent, which is the position I currently hold and have been holding for about 5 years within LB&I. It looks like this is supposed to incorporate SBSE, which would be similar, it's just a different type of work that's being done. You can move to the next slide. Okay, so qualifications. You can read through this yourself, but it's either a CPA or a higher degree in accounting with 30 semester hours in accounting, or 24 semester hours in accounting and an additional 6 semester hours in related subjects such as business law, economics, etc. Or a bachelor's degree in a field other than accounting with the equivalent of 4 years that include these semester hours discussed above. Or serving as a revenue agent for at least 1 year. And that last aspect is typically how most end up in this position, is from having the knowledge from being a revenue agent to a senior revenue agent to a, I call it frontline manager. It's easier to say and it doesn't get as confusing. So typically though, it will be following that path internally. I am not aware of an external applicant coming in straight to this role, because there's so much build upon knowledge that needs to be acquired for this role, as far as understanding the internal administrative aspects of the IRS, as well as understanding the people that you will be that will be on your team and the work that they are doing, because you have to be very involved in the work that they are doing. You can move on to the next slide. The one thing I did want to mention is it says 1 year of experience as a revenue agent, and although that's typically not the case, typically people going into this position have several years. I have seen recently people being onboarded externally that have so much experience and knowledge that after their year or two, they're ready. They go straight from a GS14, which is internal revenue agent, to this position as supervisory internal revenue agent, aka frontline manager. So in addition to what you're seeing on your screen as to what we do in this position, there's a lot more involved, of course. Some of the primary elements are to meet our tax administration responsibilities. We want to make sure that we're in our position in leadership, position, that we provide, services that enhance our taxpayers' experience, that we enforce the law fairly and efficiently. We want to increase voluntary compliance, right? We want to meet their tax administration responsibilities effectively. So in doing so, you want to make sure that you're overseeing a team of revenue agents, typically, either a combination of revenue agents and senior revenue agents. I've had up to 10 agents on my team. I think the typical team size is around 8. You want to make sure that you're acquiring the best work that you can provide them to work. Again, we're talking about large corporations. We're talking about partnerships. We have a program called Compliance Assurance Program, which is a CAP program, where you're essentially examining the return before it's filed. You're working with the taxpayer to ensure any issues are identified and resolved before the return is filed. It's supposed to be a time-saving program. And the goal is, again, to provide increased effectiveness and efficiency. The pass-throughs, we've got a lot of programs right now that are geared towards pass-through entities, partnerships that either elect BBA or elect out of BBA. We've got another large program implemented called HII, which is high income individuals. And we have several campaigns, we call them, where we focus on certain types of entities. Micro-captive, I've mentioned before, syndicated conservation easements, abusive transactions. So you have to be able to look at the inventory that you're being requested to assign, prioritize it, match it with the best individual who can work the case and in an efficient and effective manner. There's also a lot of interaction with taxpayers in this position because, you're now essentially involved in however many you have on your team times the amount of whatever cases they have. So however many taxpayers that ends up to, it could be, 80 or 90 taxpayers you're working with. And you're going to be having conversations with those taxpayers because you need to also, a big part of this position is evaluating performance of those individuals. And you can only do so if you're with them, right? If you're talking to them, if you have constant status meetings with them about what's going on with this case, what's going on with that case, how are we handling this issue? And it helps to have some face-to-face activity, I've learned, with the actual taxpayer. So you'll go to meetings, you'll go to quarterly status meetings, opening conferences, issue resolution meetings. We have issue resolution programs such as Fast Track. That's one of them, and it's supposed to kind of escalate to the resolution of an issue that we're disagreeing on. You're going to participate in that. If the case is sent to appeals, you're going to participate in appeals conference meetings. So you kind of get your hands in just about every aspect of the examinations. And in addition to that, you're also expected to participate in other programs that enhance the service and enhance tax compliance, such as recruiting. So it's kind of a jack of all trades the way I look at it, because you still have to have tax knowledge, you still have to have fundamental knowledge, or I shouldn't say fundamental, significant knowledge in examinations. You have to know the ins and outs of the administration of a case. And these cases can get very complex. You can have multiple tier entities, related entities. You have very diverse amount of types of taxpayers, a diverse amount of ways to resolve the examination, and you have to know how to process everything. We have an internal system that provides a lot of taxpayer information from, we call them transcripts, our IDRS, which is our document retrieval system. We have to be able to know what part of that system do we want to look at? What report do we want to see? What are we looking for in that? And why are we needing it? And how are we utilizing it? So another big part, moving on just a little bit, is we want to encourage development of the employees. We want to give them opportunities. If I've got one employee that's real strong in one area and another one that needs a little help, we'll pair them up together. We'll assign an agent with another agent to work maybe an issue to kind of get them to understand how large case examinations are administered. So you want to give people opportunities and really capitalize. To me, that's just key. Capitalize on strengths and develop weaknesses. You want to be inclusive. You want to make sure that your employees are comfortable talking to you. The quote open door policy, and availability is important as well. So, to summarize, it's a challenging position, and you never know what you're going to be working from day to day. I woke up this morning with emails regarding extending a statute on a claim that had been disallowed. And this is a whole different set of procedures versus extending a statute on a regular tax return. So, you've got fires to put out, you've got employees to develop. I've got a team meeting on Friday within the service, developing areas, developing issues. So very challenging, but also very interesting and very fast paced. So if you like the fast pace, this is a job for you. That's all I have. Thank you. And now we move on to Jennifer Hoffman.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon, good morning, depending where you're at. My name is Jennifer Hoffman, and I began my career 21 years ago with the service. I'm located in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I started in the campus environment. I moved over to HCO, where I worked as an HR specialist, hiring revenue agents for SBSE before 9 years ago coming over to LB&I as their HR embedded. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Leadership Succession Review, otherwise known as LSR, and its relation to the management selection process. Next slide, please. So the Leadership Succession Review is a service-wide leadership succession planning process. It is a 2-year cycle, and it has 4 stages, and is supported by the development and implementation of the Career Learning Plan, which you might know as the CLP. So the first year of a cycle is where the 4 stages will be completed. So you have your stage 1, and this is your assessment process. This is where managers and any interested employees will complete self-assessments, followed by their manager completing a managerial assessment on them, and then having the second level manager review and concur. So an assessment is required when you're applying for a supervisory internal revenue agent position. And currently the IRS is in year 1 of a new LSR cycle. Both LB&I and SBSE either are wrapping up their stage 1 or have already moved into their stage 2 for their current cycle. So if you did not participate during your BOD's open LSR stage 1 assessment period and do plan to apply for any of these supervisory positions that we have posted, you can complete an ad hoc assessment. So from stage 1, you move into stage 2, and this is for our senior managers to lead talent review discussions with their direct report managers. And in these discussions, they get together to talk about that succession planning of their different positions, such as the frontline manager and the senior manager. And also, they discuss some of the organizational strengths and things like that need to be addressed, and any room for any development. From there, they move to stage 3, and this is where the executives will meet and they'll discuss any rolled up information from stage 2, talk further about succession planning of the entire organization, and then they'll also discuss those that may be ready for XR or CDP programs, which are leadership readiness programs. From there, you move to stage 4. We set this time aside for the managers to provide feedback to their LSR participants, and then also be there to assist with the creation of a career learning plan so that they have time to work on developing their leadership competencies. And then from year 1, we move to year 2, and this is just set aside. It's there for the year for your LSR participants to work on developing their competencies, and then it's also always available for any ad hoc assessments if an employee wants to apply to a supervisory position. Next slide, please. So the LSR assessment is based on the new IRS leadership competency model, and this is the foundation for hiring, promoting, developing, and evaluating our IRS leaders. So this new model did go back into effect in October of 2022. There are 6 executive core qualifications, otherwise known as ECQs, and those consist of our 28 supporting leadership competency behaviors. So the core qualifications are leading change, leading people, results-driven, business acumen, building coalitions, and fundamentals. And I will link after my presentation into the chat the new IRS leadership competency model document. I'll also link to you this crosswalk so you can review the old model versus the new and where it fits in to familiarize yourself more. Next slide, please. So as discussed, all of our supervisory applications do require a completed LSR assessment. The most updated assessment is what is used by the Employment Office to verify your ratings. So under this MSP 2.0, the Leadership Succession Review, managerial assessment ratings are used to rank the leadership potential of the candidates. The candidates are rated based on 45% of those leadership competencies. The other 45% are technical competencies. These are questions within the application. And then the other 10% that you'd be ranked on are for any significant accomplishments. And these are also online questions. So the entire managerial selection process is automated through the application in USA Jobs. So what does the managerial selection process use from your completed LSR assessment? They use the 6 core qualification ratings. That is the leading change, leading people, results driven, etc. They do not use that overall readiness rating. So if you're rated ready now or maybe ready with development or not ready, that overall readiness rating is used just for our succession planning in our organization so that we can identify our potential successors and in any areas for development. And do note that you only need 1 assessment if you apply, even if you apply to different levels of management. So the Leadership Academy had launched back in October of 2021, and it's this one-stop shop for leadership development. So it's a great site that we have now available. So if you're interested in learning more about leadership or leadership readiness programs or even the Leadership Succession Review, you can go out to this site. There's many different leadership resources, and one of those is here on the screen for the Leadership Succession Review. So I will put that link into the chat after my presentation if you want to learn more. And then finally here, I just wanted to provide you the contact. So for SBSE, your LSR contact is Jason Coleman, if you should have any questions. And then for LB&I, it's myself, Jennifer Hoffman, or my backup, Linda Bai. And I will also paste these into the chat for you to have. And I will now pass it over to Sandra. Thank you.
No. Okay. So I know that was a lot of information, but guess what? You guys are ready. Everyone on this call tuned in because you know you got the chops, you got the experience, you got the skills. So, ace the interview. Now, because you're all internal, you know how to ace an interview. So you can improve your interview skills. Interviewers are, of course, comprised of various business units. Keep that in mind. To refine your skills and receive valuable feedback. So there's a contact, Brenda Gillison at IRS.gov. Make sure you take a picture, write that down. Because I always say, your resume speaks to who you are, but once you get into the door, your interview tells them who you really are. So, and this is, a new position, and we want to make sure we get the best qualified applicant for that. So make sure you get that contact information and make sure you give a call. Let's go to the next one. Now, most of you all, hopefully you all know this. I didn't for a long time on how to make your resume searchable. So, of course, in USA Jobs, it is really key for you to make your resume searchable. So, of course, you've already got your document submitted. You all know that you can have up to 5 resumes on USA Job at the same time, but only one can be searchable. So you can upload 5 resumes according to what you're actually looking for, and then you're going to click on the box that says searchable. What that does is that lets us, the recruitment team, if there was a position that came out and you didn't know about it yet, we can go into a program where we have ATP, which is have all of the USA Jobs resumes, and we can look for a particular resume with particular skills. So this position is very particular what they're looking for. If that is in your resume and your resume has been made searchable, we will be able to send you an email and it'll look something like this. Okay, so it'll let you know that we have a position out there, and all you have to do is click on the link. Easy peasy. So make sure you make your race searchable, and remember, you can only have one at a time to be searchable. Next slide. Now, this is one thing that I didn't know either, receiving automatic job notifications. And, lucky for me, God bless me, I had put in an automatic job search for, management and program analyst position as a recruiter. The easiest way to do that, let's go to the next slide. And I did this, and it worked for me. What you're going to do is you're going to go, of course, into the USA Jobs, and then you're going to put in either the series number or keywords like revenue agent, senior revenue agent, and then, of course, the location that you are looking for that you want to be selected in, you'll put that there. Then you're going to save the search, give it a name, my new GS14, and then if you want this daily, I would suggest do it daily. Every time that there is a position that you're looking for, they will send you a link. Now, of course, you all are internal, so make sure you can click both, open to the public or internal, and then you save that. Once you save that, every time a position comes up, all you have to do is open up your email, and voila, that notification is there saying this position was just posted. You all know that the IRS does not take a long time, so make sure you look on your email every day. Let's go to the next slide. Now, of course, these are the locations that the revenue agents will be posted. I can tell you right now, before anybody asks, these positions are not open yet. That's why we were telling you to make sure you do a safe search. Go ahead, ma'am. Next one. These are ITM courses, best practice for resume, and these are all in the ITM. Now, SBSC does have a writing resume tips. You can go into USA Jobs, when you first click into USA Jobs, go all the way to the bottom, and it'll say events. Every 4th Thursday of the month, we have a staff who, that's all they do is resumes, review resumes. Every 4th Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern, we have a resume tips course, and we teach you how to write the perfect resume. These are real life people, of course, who do this every day. So those are some of the ITMs. You can take a picture of that and make sure that you brush up on your resume skills. I say if you're not bettering yourself to learn, then you're never going to get where you want to go. That's just my tidbit. Okay, next. and how to apply. Again, these positions are not, that position is not open yet. The revenue officer position is not open yet. But if you do that safe search, voila, as soon as it's open, you are in. So we're going to take this time real quick and do some Q&As. If you have a question, you can, of course, hit the react button, raise your hand, raise your hand, and I'll call on you, and you can ask these wonderful, experienced people exactly what you want to know. So, do I have any questions for these awesome presenters? And I'm waiting to see the hands. Oh, y'all good. Y'all don't have any questions? None? I'm shocked. This will be the first time I was in a session where nobody had any questions. So you all are good. You know what you're going to be applying for. Good. Godwin, are you coming off of mute to ask a question? Okay. I just wanted to make sure. I saw, looked like you were trying to come off mute. Okay. Well, Tina has a question. Tina Zink, you can be my first one. Come on off of mute and tell me what you want.
I was just wondering if you're going to be sending this PowerPoint out?
Unfortunately, we do not. We can't send a PowerPoint out because we change it. I mean, things change on here, and we don't want to get stuck with someone saying, hey, what's up there? And then we had to change it for something else. So unfortunately, the PowerPoint will not be sent out. I'm sorry. Is there something in particular that you wanted to know or wanted to take a picture of?
I took pictures along the way. I just thought
Okay,
to have it just to refresh and go back.
Well, and that's
Okay,
why I
thank
told
you.
everybody at the beginning, get your pencils and pens and cameras out because I knew we weren't going to be able to get this presentation out to you. But thank you, Tina. Mark Bernstein, you're up next.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mark.
Good, I got it off mute. So like I have prior management experience outside the IRS. Many years of experience, and the LSR. If your LSR is ranked so I rank myself higher on the LSR, and if your manager only ranks you low based on what they know of you for like a year, so they rank you pretty low on the LSR scale. Is it basically a waste to apply for those kind of positions if you're ranked low?
Jennifer, I'm going to throw that question to you.
I would say it's never a waste not to apply. You never know. Just because your manager ranks you lower, you don't typically know exactly how it's rated when you're applying. I mean, that kind of information they will not give out. They won't give out a crediting plan. All we know is that it holds 45% of your score. So it's never a waste not to apply. I recommend applying. As far as outside experience go, I mean, yes, your manager can only rate your core qualifications and the competencies based on what they observed. You can discuss with your manager your previous leadership experience, and they can take that into consideration when they're going over the ready with development part of your leadership succession review. But otherwise, it is based upon what they've witnessed on the job. However, I always recommend to apply. You never know.
Right. Based on the current position, there's not, you're just there's just room to do your job and not, so they're not going to, see management skills on the limited time that they've observed you. So they're not going to be, so some managers will, are more conservative than others, I guess. So basically it's 45%. So if they rank you like just, almost towards the bottom of the LSR scale, I don't think you have a good shot at getting BQ'd or getting a position, I would think. That's, based on the LSR.
Well, Mark, I'm gonna say exactly what Jennifer said. You don't know. Thank you.
I know, but
you don't know. I would just apply. We have these sessions all the time. We tell people to apply and let the chips fall where they may. You never know. Okay.
Wherever you're interested in applying, please apply. I mean,
yeah.
for for a managerial announcement, it's category rating, so it's BQ, HQ, and Q. So, what if nobody made BQ? Then they're going to look at the HQ. So you never know. I recommend applying. If you're interested, apply, show your interest, start working on your competencies to get them higher. If your manager only observed you doing this and that, please take an opportunity and go look out at the Leadership Academy. They have these great guides out there giving you books and different things and different ideas on how to increase those competency ratings.
Right.
Thank you, Mark.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much.
No problem. We're going to go to Jenny. Jenny, you're up next.
Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Hi. I'm fine. How are you?
Good. I have a question about the basic requirements. I just want to make sure I chose the best answer. I have an accounting degree. I am a CPA. I also have been a revenue agent, GS13, for a number of years. So the best choice would be to pick D, a combination of experience and education, correct?
Let me get one of my wonderful presenters, either John or let's see, any one of you guys can jump in and make sure you answer that question correctly. Joshua, Nikki. John, are you all still on the call?
Yeah,
I was going to say, I saw you, Kate. Go ahead and, ma'am, can you repeat that question, Jenny?
Sure. I applied to the senior revenue agent position job posting a couple of weeks ago. I just wanted to make sure I chose the best answer. I am a CPA. I do have a bachelor's degree in accounting. I've also been at GS13 for several years. So the answer I chose was the combination of experience and education. So I wasn't sure how each answer weighed in point wise, but I just wanted to see if there was a better answer than that.
My opinion, Jenny, is you picked the appropriate answers. It sounds like you not only have the education, but you also have the experience. If it lets you select both bubbles, then I'll say
No, it doesn't let you. It's one.
Oh, let you select
Yeah,
one.
it's just one. That's why I'm like, am I selecting the best answer?
Okay,
But thank you.
okay.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you. Yvonne? Yvonne Ramos?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Hi. So my question was about the LSR. I particularly have my LSR back from 2020. Is that outdated, or can I still use it for this application period?
Jennifer?
Unfortunately, that is outdated because they have a new leadership competency model. Where all announcements moving forward back in October moved forward with the new competency model. So you're going to need to input a new one.
Okay. And the timing for that is that, does that have to be during LSR season, or can that be done at any time?
Which business unit are you?
Currently with SBSE BSA.
You might want to check with Jason Coleman, your SBSE LSR points of contact, but for within LB&I, it would be considered an ad hoc assessment, and they would have to input, they could input at any time. It would just be underneath the ad hoc assessment process, not underneath the cycle.
Perfect. Thank you for that. And
Thank you. Go ahead.
just one more question. Regarding, you mentioned that you have a call on the fourth Thursday of the month where you would actually review people's resumes. In order to do that, should we forward our resume before the call, or what's the best practice?
Jennifer, I think that was directed toward you.
No, that's you.
No, I don't host any resume calls.
Oh, I'm sorry. She said resume. I'm sorry. My ears must have popped when I stretched. So for the resume and tips, if you, what I'll do is I'll try to grab that. I believe that might be full, a lot of people sometimes don't show up. So I will put that in let me find that and I'll put that in the chat for you. Or,
Thank you.
oh, sure, no problem. Barbara King?
Hi, my question was similar. I came in a little bit late, so I didn't get to hear the information about how do you submit for the review or where you would even submit documents to.
Yeah, are you talking about for the
Resume review.
Oh, rather, yeah. As soon as I'm trying to pull that up and do this call at the same time, look through it. But I will put that in the chat. So if you are available to come to that session, it is tomorrow. It's at 4 p.m. Eastern. So I'm just looking for it so I can throw it in the chat.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Let's see who is next on my list. Raymond? Raymond, you're up next.
Hi, can you hear me?
I got you.
Yeah, okay. Hi. I have a quick question
Sure.
about SRA positions. I have an SRA on my team, and we talked about SRA position a while back, a couple months ago. And she and we talked about how she got onto SRA before. And she was at GS14 for like 10 years, answered all the questions, requirements for the SRA application, and submitted it a couple times. And she still got declined for the position. But now I see nowadays it looks like there's a shift in the way SRAs are being hired or selected for that position. I'm wondering if that's because we need more SRAs, and if so, we're changing the way qualified applicants are getting selected. My main concern is that, I'm also a GS13 that have all the experience, a CPA, accounting degree, etc. But I'm relatively new to the LBI. I'm still a 13 under 3 years. So I'm just concerned about, being selected for SRA and then being a senior revenue agent. It's a whole entire new task of responsibility, technical and coordination. I'm wondering, would I have the ability to be, make sure that I can uphold those responsibilities if I choose to apply for that job?
Can you believe this shit?
I'm going to say, just like I say on all of these calls, never
I
cheat
believe in
yourself
God
out of an
more
opportunity.
than ever so before.
So if,
After watching
sort of
this
like
video,
the little
knowing that there's
engine that
divine
could,
protection for everyone
if you think you
alive.
can, apply.
My God.
You never know what someone is looking for. And at your resume, as far as your experience and your education. So I would say apply.
We're at the top of the hour, Sandra.
Yeah, I got one person left. Jennifer, you're the last person. Jennifer,
Sorry, struggling with my mute button.
That's okay.
So the postings for supervisory internal revenue agent that are currently listed are rosters. Do you have any information on how they're going to pull from those, or how that'll work, or what positions they're going to be utilized to fill?
Any one of my presenters from the panel? Is there anyone from the panel that can answer that question? Because I'm not sure. I don't want to give you the wrong. Is that Martha? Is that you talking?
This was Nikki. I was just going to comment that it's really a to be determined, but theoretically there will be some cutoffs. So if you're ever interested in a roster position, you should apply as soon as possible, even though it might say the position, the roster ends, a year from the date. It's in your best interest to apply as soon as you can.
Okay, so there's currently one listed that has like 91 open spots, but they don't indicate, like, it just says they're open all over. So do you have any insight on what they're using that to fill?
Hey Sandra, this is Adrienne Connolly. I'm a technical analyst in Western area. Can I answer this question?
You sure can.
Okay, so the way that the rosters work is they're open for an extended period of time. Once you apply for the roster, what happens is the IRS comes out and says, okay, there's 91 positions open, but we need 10 people in the Bay Area in California, or we need 5 people in Denver, Colorado. And so they will pull the qualified applicants from the roster to see if anybody fits what we need at that time. Once you make the roster, when you apply, you'll get, some kind of notification that says, yes, you've been referred, or no, you don't qualify. Once you qualify for the roster, you're on the roster until it closes. So say that we do a poll and we do some selections and you weren't selected, you will be applicable to be in the next poll for the roster as well. So as Nikki said, the best thing to do is apply for the rosters as soon as possible. Make sure that you're getting qualified so that you can stay on the roster. So when we do those polls, we can see your information coming up.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, look, we are at the top of the hour. This is your lunch break. We want to make sure some of your lunch break, some of you, it is not, but it is an hour and we want to let you go. Remember, nothing hurts unless you fall and don't get back up. And what I mean to say is apply for everything and let the HR tell you no. Nothing, there's nothing lost or nothing gained if you don't apply. So thank you so much for attending this session. I wish you all the best of luck. Have a great day and enjoy life. Thank you so much for coming. Have a good day. Go apply. Save your search. Apply for our resume tips and class.
Sandra, are there PDs for these new jobs?
If they are, at this moment, I do not know what that particular PD is, and I don't want to give you the wrong information.
Where can I find them if they are?
To be honest, if you send me an email to the SBSC recruitment at IRS.gov, that email right there, and put that question in there and say you attended this class, we will get that information back to you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day.
You too.
All right. Staff, presenters, if you are good and you don't have any comments, you guys go and enjoy your lunch, and thank you so much for coming. Y'all have a good day. Everyone enjoy.